Welcome back, good morning. So this morning we're going to be doing a few little jobs on the van. One of the things I need to do is move these lights and put them on the side panel here, because obviously our cupboards are going to come up to here, and a few other things, depend what the day brings really. Beck's a little bit ill, she's in the house, so we're going to get a little bit done and see what we can do. Bring you back when I've done a little bit more. Okay, so one's done. So the light was originally on this panel there, facing forward. I'll put it round onto the side here, onto the metal rather than the cover that you take off to get to the lights. So just got to do the other one. I'll show you for why. So you can see that our cupboard line is going to be there. So that light would probably just fit in, to be honest, but it would be behind the cupboard. So bringing it over onto here makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? You know, so it's still usable. I'm still going to bring off some light, still use it as a USB charger. So I'm going to disassemble that one, the same as I've done on the other side, and that's one job ticked and done. Okay, so we've moved both of the lights now. You see they're both switched on, just to show you where they are in relation to the back of the van. Plenty of room there. Okay, another one of the things we've fitted on the van, I'm not sure if we've shown you it yet, but I'll take you down and see what you think. Okay, so it's this here. So before we had to kind of pull the door shut with our fingers. Still got the little latch there to open. The only thing that you have to be careful of is obviously not getting your hand there, so give it a, so it works pretty good. So these are what you'd use in an adapted bathroom, the grab rails. So I've got one on there, I've got another one, I've got a pack of two, so that's ideal for slamming the door shut when you're inside. Okay guys, so the next little job is to fit these storage units. I fitted this one, I'll show you how to do the next one. Got these from IKEA. They fit lovely to the bottom panel. We did put a wider ply, thicker ply on the bottom here, so because we knew we was going to screw something to it, but they work perfectly to fill the gap between our bed. We didn't want our bed to come all the way to the back doors because we'd have had to cut a lot out for the pillar at the back. We measured it so when we pulled the bed out it didn't hit the fridge unit. So when the door's shut, as you can see, it comes just a bit above the bed. So from IKEA, and these are, let me have a look and you can have a look at the same time. I thought it was called Espana then, but no, that's the instructions. There we go. Trones or Trones. So you get two in a pack. I can't remember how much there was. I think it was around 20 quid, something like that. But I'll show you what I did. I put an extra fixing hole in. I'll set the time lapse up on the next one so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, let's get fitting. I'm just going to take the front off it. It is detachable, the front part. Let me just show you. That's detachable. So you've just got this unit, a big like bucket. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stick another hole in the middle there. That way I can use that to square the box up. Nice and easy. In old school, just a screwdriver and a screw. Okay, so this one's a little bit tighter because I'm going to push this one there, I think I'll just get the one screw in for now on this one because this door card is smaller. Okay, I'll just square it up a little bit at the top. Top ones, I've just got these penny washers because the holes at the top are slotted. As well. I'm really pleased with them. Can't wait to show Becky the final results on those. Hopefully she won't want to move them. Yeah, pleased with them. They look nice. They join in with the match our colour, black and grey. A little bit of orange splashed around. Got our lights from earlier that we connected up. These are dimmable as well. Tend to have them on really dim at night when we're, especially when we're doing some a bit of stealth camping. We can also still get a little bit of storage underneath. There's probably about 28 centimetres under there maybe, so we can use that for folding tables and chairs and whatnot in the summer. So yeah, really happy with that. Okay, so it's time for the next job. So we have Wi-Fi antenna. This is made by a company called Fu. We just bought it off Amazon. Another YouTuber had used it with decent results for the price range. So what I'm going to do is get it on the roof. I'll drill another hole. So you can flex this down. Because I've got two outlets, I'm going to use the one outlet for the Wi-Fi antennas. I'm going to stick a couple of cables up onto the roof as well, because I think at some point in the future we'll probably be looking at putting some LED strip floodlights on there on the front and back. So if I get the cables up now, once the ceiling's up, shouldn't need to have to get the ceiling down or, you know, cut some untidy holes. So I already have the cables up on the roof. So I'm going to get onto that. Okay, so my gland is going here next to this one. See here. So I'm just going to drill a pilot hole in. I'll go inside and just check that the hole's in the right place. Okay guys, so the next job's to use the step drill. Just gonna get that down to a 20mm hole, so I can just put my grommet in there. Brilliant. Okay, so before we can fit that grommet, we need to get this area vacuumed, get all the swarf away. We need to touch this up with some red oxide primer. Okay, the paint's dry, so it's just a matter of threading our cables through. Just do one at a time effectively. Let's just go on to our antenna cables. So I've cleaned the area around the grommet with some alcohol, rubbing alcohol. That's nice and clean, so I want to get a good bond. The other one bonded excellent, never had a leak or anything off that one, so. Okay, so It's going to get the Sikaflex, it's the messy bit, to be honest. So there's my antenna cables. So it's just a matter of seeing where I want to mount that antenna, really. So get that into position. So I think I'm going to go for somewhere over here. Maybe over here somewhere on this roof bar here. It does come with a bracket, so that's all good. So the messy part now. Cleaning up the takes a little longer. Okay, so just remember with these glands as well, guys, that the connections or the actual glands themselves, the individual glands, point backwards. Just making sure I've got the Sikaflex all around that. That's going to come round. And I'm going to drop that down. And I'm going to put it there. And line it up with my other one. And that looks pretty good, to be honest. Give it a good push down. It's not too bad, to be honest, that. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's get the rest of the bits for the aerial, some cable ties, and see what we can do. Okay guys, it's getting dark now, so I'm going to leave it at that. I've already cleaned the garage out. There's the cables coming in. Put some Sikaflex on the inside, just in case. Sikaflex on the outside, clean it up on the top. I'll take you up. I don't know how much you can see because it is quite dark now. Okay guys, so there you can see, there's the aerial. Just might put it on a bracket, just red oxided for now, and there's my cables. All I've done is just rolled them up into a plastic bag and just keep some rain off it. I've got a router to fit, although it is a mains voltage one through a transformer. It is a 4G router, so I might get onto my supplier and see if we can get the mobile version of the same router that works off plug into 12 volts DC. But for now, we're just going to fit what we've got and see how we get on. So there's on the ceiling. It's just quite temporary. I've done a tiny cables back yet. I want to leave them nice and loose just in case we need to reroute them for when we put our ceiling up. There's plenty of slack on both ends to tidy that up. Just brought into this cupboard. So I'm going to mount it in here temporary. This is a house one really. It is mobile. It's on the 3 network. So I'm just going to mount it to the wall there. I was going to try and get it flat, but if you can see the cables off the antenna, they're a little bit of a pain because they're sticking out the back. It's only temporary anyway, because at some point I'm going to change it to a mobile router, a 12 volt compatible. Okay guys, so you can see I've got the 4G router in. I've used this strip here. That's just all band. Use it a lot in the electrical and the building trade. If you don't know what it is, it's a lot of it's just a strip with holes in it. It's really useful for securing things, just to make it look a bit nicer. I've just put some heat shrink over it, just to make it look a little bit better. So that's fairly, travel proof, I'd say. As I say, it is 240 volt or 230 volt AC, so we need to have it plugged in to use, but we'll upgrade that at some point to a mobile version. But for this application, I think for a temporary measure, this is going to do us brilliant, and we'll see how we get on with it really. Especially when we go out into the wilds a little bit. Okay guys, so we're going to do a little bit of an experiment. We've bought a new electric kettle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cup of coffee. The battery's still on charge at 94%, so when I say how much power does the kettle consume. Now I do know that this kettle takes about 6.5 minutes to boil, which is a lot longer than a domestic kettle. So domestic kettles are about 3 kilowatts. This kettle is 600 watts. So when it comes to boiling water, the lower the wattage, the longer the time. because it's the same technology, boiling water, so just takes a little bit longer. We have got a 2 kilowatt inverter, so we could have gone up to 2 kilowatts with the kettle, but for what we'll be using it for, just making drinks, washing air, washing up. Obviously we've got other ways of washing, heating water. We've got gas, we've got induction, and we've got our alcohol stove that we use sometimes, and we've got a stick burning stove, and we've got barbecue kit. So lots of different ways of heating water up. But being as we're all electric, I'm going to give this a go, and I'm going to take a reading. We're on 95% now, so I'm going to stop the charging, and then I'm going to make a brew. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure out my water, to save energy, save water. Always measure out how much water you want. Water, spring water, it's just so I've got that at hand. In there. Okay guys, so I've got my kettle plugged in into the inverter. As I said, it's showing 95%. Let's get it switched on. And while that's boiling, today we're going to go for espresso. Okay, I can hear that coming up to the boil now. Just look at the back the thing. Okay, so it's just clicked off, so let's just have a look at the monitor. They're 94%, so roughly it's taken about 1% of the battery, which is a 305 amp hour lithium battery, so not too bad at all really. Be interesting to compare, to boil some water on the induction hob in a pan, same sort of volume, to see how long that takes and kind of how much electricity that uses. But obviously there's a convenience with the kettle. Right, that's me done. Nothing left to do, just to pour the kettle, enjoy my coffee, and then put my feet up, because it's been a bit busy couple of days again. See you next time. Cheers guys. Okay, I'm just bringing the van back on the drive. Took it away against the garage. Thank you very much for watching. Plenty more van build things coming up, and also some adventures as well. So see you next time. Thanks for watching.